Sup dudes? Welcome to another kickin' episode of Geek Portal on CIB24.com. I'm your host, Paul Cusolo. On today's episode, it's all about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From comics, TV shows, video games, and movies, here's why the mean green fighting team means so much to men in their 30s, and why it's on the rise again. Who would have thought that the Turtles would make such a huge comeback? Now, if you don't know who these icons of the 90s are, then may I suggest you start small. First, open your eyes, then your ears, but not too fast. It's a big, scary world out there. Now that I have some turtle-powered condemnation out of the way, here's a brief history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and this week's A Brief History. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or TMNT as I will now refer to them as, are a team of 4 anthropomorphic turtles named after 4 Renaissance artists who were trained by their anthropomorphic rat sensei in the art of jiu-jitsu. Only in New York, they battle everything from petty thugs to mutated alien invaders from other dimensions, all while trying to remain hidden in the shadows from society. Leonardo the leader, model student, most sensei would want 4 Leonardos, tactician, and definitely the least fun, wearing the blue mask, being the oldest, and carrying the most responsibility, both metaphorically and physically, with his dual deadly katana blades. Now, it says katana, but Leonardo most likely used ninjato blades, commonly used by ninjas. However, historically there is little evidence to support this. Now, the ninja would have chosen a shorter and straighter blade to reduce drawing time of the sword. Leonardo was named after Italian polymath, painter, engineer, inventor, writer, anatomist, and sculptor Leonardo da Vinci. He is widely considered to be the most diversely talented person to have ever lived. If Leonardo leads, then Donatello does machines. That's a fact, Jack! The genius of the 4, scientist, inventor, engineer, and technological wonder, wears the purple mask and whose simple wooden bow can disarm any enemy. His list of unbelievable inventions is too long to name, but some of the key ones that stick out to me are the Turtle Van, Metalhead, and his working interdimensional portal. All this from a teenager born and raised in the sewers. In the who's who of fictional comic characters, Donatello has got to be up there as one of the smartest. He is named after Italian Renaissance artist and sculptor from Florence, Donatello. Next, we have most people's favorite, Michelangelo. An easygoing, fun, and carefree spirit, Michelangelo is the youngest, and surfer-style Southern California accent provides a lot of comic relief. He wears the orange mask and wields a pair of nunchakas. He is named after Italian painter, sculptor, architect, poet, and engineer Michelangelo, with famous works such as the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel and the Statue of David. He is considered the greatest artist in history, and a number of his works in painting, sculpture, and architecture rank among the most famous in existence. And last but not least, my favorite turtle, Raphael, the team's ass whooper. Wearing the dark red mask and wielding a pair of sai, the strongest and best fighter of the group, he's aggressive and usually throws the first punch. I always like the combination of sai and deadpan humor. The utility of the sai as a weapon is reflected in its distinctive shape, which there are several different ways of wielding the sai, which gives it versatility to be used both lethally and non-lethally. He is named after Italian painter and architect Raphael, who along with Michelangelo and Leonardo form the traditional trinity of great masters of that period. The Turtles originated in comics long before their expansion into cartoon, film, merchandise, and video games. Creators Kevin Eastman and friend Peter Laird had no idea the global giant that they were about to unleash on the world. From a humorous sketch drawing by Eastman during a casual evening of brainstorming, found it quite humorous, the artist, as it played upon the inherent contradiction of a slow, cold-blooded reptile with the speed and agility of a Japanese martial arts. Using money from a tax refund and a loan from Eastman's uncle, they self-published a single issue intended on being a parody of Marvel Comics' Daredevil, New Mutants, Dave Sim's Cerberus, and Frank Miller's Ronin. The comics were published by Mirage Studios in an oversized magazine-style format using black and white artwork on cheap newsprint limited to a print run of only 3,250 copies. Now, the small run made these instant collector's items, and within a few months they were trading for over 50 times their cover price. Now, the comics were much darker than the TV show, which would catapult them into pop culture. I mean, they said cowabunga on the cartoon and they used guns and killed people in the comic books. Soon we would see a miniseries in 1987. The series was repeated 3 times before it found an audience on CBS. In 1987, Eastman and Laird visited Playmates Toys Incorporated and development was undertaken. The designers needed toy packaging that could live on during the entire run of the show. And this concept pitch was called Green Against Brick. Soon slogans like Heroes in the Half Shell and Turtle Power emerged. Now, the action figure line exploded, and at the height of the 90s, they could be found on Pez dispensers, towels, sports equipment, cameras, and soap and shampoo combos. They even had a cereal, basically Chex with TMNT themed marshmallows. I never got to try it though, hard to find. While the animated series lasted 10 years until 1996, a live-action feature film was released with actors in partially animatronic suits created by Jim Henson, which I still think holds up by today's standards. Watched it recently with my nephews, and I still think it's one of the better comic-to-movie adaptations. It spawned 2 sequels, which decreased in quality, as well as a 3D animated film, which was released in 2007. Back to the comics and the original series, then came the TMNT Adventures, a comic book series published in 1988 to 1995 by Archie Comics. The storylines were close adaptations of the 1987 TV series. This included things like changing the team from all red bandanas to individual color schemes as an attempt to distinguish the turtles based on color rather than their weapon choice. Now, they also cut out the swearing, guns, and murder, obviously. After the 5th issue of the new series, Eastman and Laird handed the series over to Mirage Studios, which then quickly abandoned the TV series storyline to take it in an all-new direction. Now, I should note that the Turtles also have appeared in several manga series as well. I haven't seen any though. From toys, comics, and movies, the Turtles entered the video game market. The first was the Famicom Nintendo game TMNT, which was ridiculously hard. I don't know anyone who was able to finish it without cheating. Also noteworthy is the 1989 TMNT arcade game, which later was ported to NES. Many games followed. Enjoy this quick montage. It's been years since the boys hit the big screen. Well, we have another TMNT movie on our way, starring Megan Fox as April O'Neil, a reporter and friend of the Turtles. Directed by Michael Bay, it enters theaters August 8th in 3D. Check it out.
Create heroes.
That's it for this episode of Geek Portal. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, as well as subscribe to our YouTube Daily Motion channels. Also check out CIB24.com for more cool videos. I'm Paul Cuselo. Thanks for tuning in, dudes.